Hi, welcome back. In today's lesson, I'm going to talk a little bit about structure. And this is going to be an adjunct video to step 56 of the curriculum. And I'd like you to watch, as a prerequisite, the videos 1 through 20H. This comes from a question I get a fair bit from new students. It addresses the problem or the question that they have, and that is, how do I tell the difference between when I'm using strength, when I'm using my muscles, and when I'm using my structure or my proper bone alignment? And I'm going to give a few examples of that today and help to describe it. Hopefully you'll get a little bit of a better understanding between these two things, and you'll be able to better apply the structure to your Wing Chun and be able to identify when you're using muscle inappropriately. I'm going to explain a little bit about using strength, about not using strength, using your structure and your bone alignment and your tendon alignment, and how to do that most effectively. Now, you probably noticed that I've changed uniforms. That's because this is my special structure uniform. Whenever I need to fight or I need extra structure, this is the uniform that I wear. The first thing when we're talking about structure versus strength, the first thing that becomes really important is that we have to learn sort of what's in our frame. We have to learn our frame, what's in our frame and what's out of our frame. We have to learn how to face our opponent properly or face them continuously. And one of the things that I like to do, one of the examples that illustrates this fairly well, is if I take a long stance like this, put my arm out, I get a fairly long path from my front to the back. And what this does, this position, is this allows me to take this position here, and any energy that comes in here, I can put it down into my heel, and I can hold this fairly well without needing to use a lot of muscles. Now that allows me to line up towards the incoming energy and direct it down into the ground. In order to do that, I have to have a few things in place. One is I have to be facing my opponent. Let's say, for example, you're my opponent. If I face over here and I kind of put my arm out this way, you can see naturally how when you push on it, it's going to want to turn me. It doesn't structure me towards receiving the force on that vector. But if I line everything up, when you push on this, you can understand how this goes down into the heel. So one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we face our shape, that we face our opponent. So when incoming energy hits our technique, it can be redirected down into the ground. Also, when you're fighting, if we're going to talk about directional vectors, so we're going to talk about incoming energy. If we're fighting and I present you with a structure that looks like this, when I receive impact on this structure, what it's going to do is try and throw the energy this direction. It's going to try and throw it this way. What that's going to cause is it's going to cause one of two things. Either when this hits, it's going to try and make me want to rotate. The elbow is going that way, so it's going to make me want to rotate this way. In order to sort of compensate for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to then start trying to manipulate my body with my muscles to hold a position that really doesn't hold itself. The other problem that comes with having too steep an angle here is the energy will go along my forearm here, it'll hit my elbow, and it'll want to bend my elbow. So the energy comes in this way, it'll want to bend. In order for me to prevent that, I have to use physical muscle. It makes a lot more sense to kind of straighten that out, use our good technique, use our good long technique. So when somebody pushes on this, the energy comes into the elbow and the elbow is supported by the body. When I fly the elbow, it's what we say the energy wants to leak out the elbow, and to compensate for that, I'm going to have to use muscle. So one of the other things that we want to put in place in order not to use muscle when we're doing our Wing Chun is to make sure that our techniques are long enough that they're not choked up and that we don't have any angles or we don't have any elbows that are flying outside of our structure that are going to cause us to want to turn, or that we have to use our muscles to hold in place. If I have my bongs out here, just put your pock. I have my bongs out here. I'm relaxed, I'm heavy, I'm taking the energy through this extended bongs out into my back, into my hip, and down into my leg. If there's some pressure on this, put a bit of pressure. When I switch to tsun, I keep this distance, I keep this ground path. So there's never a time when, here's my bong, it's strong, and then as I go to change, I have to be structured and in control all of the time. So I put that there, there's a bit of energy. And I can use the elbow and use the structure all the way through my transition to keep the ground path so that I can hold that forward pressure should I choose to. And that's all I'd like to say about structure and strength and how to properly use your body in order to get the most out of it when somebody's attacking. Once again, I thank you all for watching. I look forward to seeing you again. Until then, bye for now.